yourself again. But it's the only way you're ever gonna learn. You look back and it's all in the past. I'm dwelling on the thought.
Well, welcome to NUFC Matters, the Steve and Steve show. As you will have probably seen on social media, just another person has used and abused my channel and then gone off and set their own YouTube channel off. I'm really disgusted in Holly Blades. It's an absolute farce. I'll never have her anywhere near this channel. Oh, hey, how did you get in here? Get off. She used karma. She used karma.
Hello, me again. How are you?
Holly, welcome to the show and congratulations on setting your own YouTube channel up. I'm very proud of you. Well done. It's going to be a long slog for you to get the subscribers, but I'm sure the good people at NUFC Matters will go across to your channel and support you. So if you want to stick the link in the YouTube chat, and what I'll do is I'll pin it to the top. We'll make a couple of references to it throughout the show. But best of luck with it, Pet, because you've done fantastically well on this channel. And I know you're going to continue to do the show with me once a week. But it's time for you to spread your wings and try yourself, try a few things yourself. And I know this is what you want to get into. So best of luck with it.
Yeah, thanks, Steve. I'll put the link in the chat now for anyone that wants to subscribe. And please do, because that'll help out a lot, especially getting started. Every subscriber counts.
Yeah, of course it does. Of course it does. And the quicker you get to 1,000, it means you can get monetized on your channel. And I know that's not your main focus because you're looking to get into this kind of field of work anyway. But the pennies make the pounds, and it does help, for what you're doing and getting yourself sorted. So well done. No football as such to talk about this weekend. Obviously a weekend off for Newcastle because the FA Cup games were played, and fantastic game this afternoon. I caught the back end of it after getting back from hospital, visiting my mum, and Manchester City and Southampton was a game of two halves. The teams looked fairly level when it got to half time, but the second half, dear me, Man City just went into overdrive, and that seemed to be the order of the day over the weekend. Of course, Everton now out of the FA Cup, Crystal Palace winning by 4-0, and our local neighbours, Middlesbrough, coming a cropper against Chelsea, European world champions, by 2-0. So the final game has just kicked off tonight against Liverpool play, hoping to get themselves into the last four as well. So I'm sure you in the chat will keep us updated on that. I'm not actually going to watch that whilst we're talking tonight. So let's look back then, Holly, at the last couple of games you and I have been to. We've been to Chelsea, we've been to Everton, and we combine the two games. Both games where we would have been happy coming away with something, I think, and we deserve to come away with something from both games, Holly.
Oh, 100%. And I think that's why it was so frustrating, because we played so well on both occasions, dominated the game for me, were the better team by far. And then unfortunately, twice in a row, obviously lost to a late minute winner, which I think is the worst way to lose a football game, because it's different if they score early on in the game and it's going to be difficult to get back into it. But when it's like 80, 90 minutes in the score, it's just heartbreaking, really.
Yeah, I mean, the Chelsea game, we went down there, didn't we, at the Stamford Bridge, and we're thinking, if we win, it's I'll get anything down here, it's a bonus. And we actually really did play well. I think we said that, Newcastle, dominated some of that game, and they deserved a point. But the Everton game, we went down there, we were expecting 3 points, weren't we? We got there, it was a good trip down. We were hoping to see another comprehensive win, another step towards to safety, but we didn't see that.
No, we didn't, unfortunately, and especially after that Chelsea performance, you thought, well, if we play like that, we'll easily beat Everton. Obviously, it was a bit of a disadvantage not having Jordan Pickford between the sticks, because I think he loves to concede goals. Obviously, they had their alternative goalkeeper in, who did pretty well, to be fair to him. I think once or twice he was a bit shaky, but we had so many good chances that we just couldn't put away. And I think it highlighted again the fact that we are missing that key goal scorer. Obviously, we've been lucky recently with people in different positions contributing the goals. But when those players aren't doing that, it's very, very difficult for us to score. Obviously, Chris Wood's doing a job. He's not really a natural goal scorer. So the sooner Callum Wilson can come back, the better. And look, it's not the end of the world. Obviously, we still probably will get to safety. I think 2 more wins will do it, and we should easily get them by the end of the season. But it is just disappointing because you'd love to see Newcastle get those additional points and climb the league. And who knows, if we went on the run that we were, we could have potentially finished top half.
What did you make of the pitch invader? A lot's been made of that on social media. Do you think that played its part in, essentially, disrupting our rhythm?
Yeah, I think it did. Obviously, you can look at it and go, oh, excuses, but it did. It was like a 15-minute stop. There was about 15 minutes added time on at the end, and I think we were in a good flow. And then obviously it got disrupted, and after that, Everton had a chance to kind of regroup a little bit. And in the additional time, I thought Everton were by far better, by the way. So you could kind of see it coming. Obviously, we turned to each other at one point and said you could see this being another Chelsea. It just did have that feeling about it by the end, but that did play its part, certainly. A very bizarre thing as well. Obviously, not something you see every day in football, with someone tying themselves to the goalpost by their neck. But it was an interesting game. Many things happened, and I think it all kind of contributed to that loss, unfortunately.
I think the most concerning thing about the footage from that game wasn't the fact that the guy tied himself to the post, or the fact that Everton seemed to have this biggest pair of bolt cutters available just at a click of a fingers. It was a guy coming out of a crowd with a knife.
I missed that.
Unbelievable. It's been doing the rounds on Twitter. There's a guy comes out of the crowd, and he's got a knife, and he hands the knife to the guys trying to get the cable tie off his neck. And then the steward hands the knife back to the guy.
That is really, really crazy. And it was just a fan from the stands.
A fan from behind the goal. Yeah.
That's illegal to carry a knife, so I don't know what was going on there.
Absolutely bizarre. This is something serious, going on at Everton. We saw a bit of heavy-handedness from the stewards. The stewards next to us were doing their best, as always in the away end, or at most games of football, there's people who've had a drink, but there was a little bit of, just heavy-handedness. They were going over the top, weren't they, with some of our supporters?
Unfortunately, yes, and it is something that you see far more often than what you'd want to, really. Obviously, stewards have a job to do. They've got to try and keep people safe, but I think 1 or 2 stewards, do tend to go too far and kind of give a bad reputation to the majority, which isn't the case. I think most stewards just want to do their job, keep people safe, but then obviously you've got 1 or 2 that kind of get too carried away. And obviously the situation at Everton was, I think the stewards were obviously Everton fans and then antagonising the Newcastle fans when they scored, which made problems even worse. And it's just not very professional. And, you'd like to think those people probably won't be working at the football matches going forward, because if they do that again, it could cause a serious problem. If there was, a lot of fighting and things going on, it's hard because stewards are massively outnumbered compared to how many fans are in the stadium.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, hopefully Everton have an internal investigation into those images that are being circulated on social media at this current time. John Askew, good evening. He says, are international breaks, Holly, fantastic or a pain in the backside?
I think both. It depends what kind of run you're on. I think for us now, probably fantastic, because I think we need a little bit of time to have a rest. I think you can see players are getting tired. There's not enough rotation within the squad, really, because we don't have a lot of squad depth. Obviously, we've got 1 or 2 players on the bench who are decent to bring in, but not everyone. And I think it will help us out just having that little bit of a rest. Sometimes it can be annoying, and I think if we had got points out of those 2 games, then maybe the answer would be different. But I certainly think after the international break, a few training sessions, and we should be back on to winning form.
I hate international breaks, I've got to be honest. I guess international breaks are great if you're an international football fan, if you enjoy watching England on a regular basis or going away with England. Lots of club fans do, of course, go home and away with England, and it's not for me. It really does annoy us. I've got to be perfectly honest. It's not my cup of tea at all. And but maybe it's the break, Holly's come at the right time for us. We've had a wonderful run of 9 games unbeaten. We've now lost our last 2. I think at Everton, certainly in the second half, we looked tired. We actually looked, lethargic, tired, and we looked as if we needed a bit of a rest. So, maybe it's come at a good time for Newcastle.
Yeah, I 100% agree. You could see the tiredness there, and I think the squad needs it. I think Eddie Howe needs it. But obviously, I'm the same as you. As a football fan, I don't really like international break because I've never really been a big England fan. But obviously, just in terms of getting us back onto a winning form, I think it's probably came at the right time.
Do you think the trip to Dubai for Newcastle United is a good thing?
Yeah, I do. Look, the one at Saudi Arabia worked very well. Obviously, proved to be some good bonding time. Got some good results off the back of it, and the players seem to enjoy it. So there's a good chance to have some time together, some warm weather, and I think it will be good for the team. Obviously, it is quite a long plane journey, but it's better than staying in England, I'd say. The weather hasn't been too bad lately, to be fair, but it's usually not great.
What did you think, of the performance of Bruno in those two games? Because obviously we were asking to see him. People on the show were asking to see him, wanted to see more of him. We've had a chance of seeing him, a lot of him now. What's your views on him?
I'd say the first kind of 60 minutes of the Chelsea game, I thought he did very well. After that, I think you could see that he was visibly getting quite tired and struggling. At that point, you probably should have made a sub, but that didn't happen. And I think obviously it's been a big change for him because he's came from playing abroad to playing in the Premier League. He needs that time to adapt to the physicality of the league. So it is getting to him, and obviously he was just coming on off the bench, but starting games is very, very different. It does take a lot of energy, and you could see it was draining him a little bit. I was surprised to see him in again at Everton. Thought he did pretty well. And look, I think he's someone that's very, very calm on the ball. He's someone that is never scared. A lot of players would just be like, right, I've got the ball, we're in danger, I'll just clear it if you can't make a simple pass. But he will try to keep possession of the ball. And I really like that. I think he's a talented player. But I think obviously you can just tell that he is taking that time to adapt. And obviously he's a little bit tired. So I think that break will be particularly good for him as well.
Yeah, I want to thank Al-Walid and Nick for just sending these two over. That's Nick on the left-hand side and Isaac Hayden in Dubai, getting a little bit of sun. You can see the sun loungers out. I hope that's not that inflatable, that they're not going to bring that back to the training ground that I can see next to two glasses under Hayden's arm. And this one, the management team with Nick as well, soaking up the sun on the beach. So thank you to Nick for sending those exclusive photographs to us to share with our viewers on the show. Have a great time out there, lads. I'm sure you will come back fighting fit and ready for action again. Graham Coleman says, we've lost to Chelsea and Everton both by 1-0. I'm being positive. At least we've given it a go against them. And that's my feeling, Holly. We gave it a go. We didn't lie down. And had things gone slightly differently in both of those games, we could have come back with a point and probably 3 at Everton if we'd taken our chances in the first half.
It is, and we have faced problems with injuries this season. So I think obviously, as long as we get to safety by the end of the season, I think next season's when we will start to push on in the league. Obviously, it's easy to get carried away and think, right, we want to win every game and finish in the top half. But ultimately, there's a time and a place, and I think next season we will do a lot better.
Yeah, full time at Leicester and Brentford, and I don't know whether people saw that in the Premier League. Leicester 2. Brentford 1, and of course that's a very important result for Newcastle because Brentford are directly below them and they stay on 30 points but having played a game more now, so that is good news for Newcastle. In the other game, which a few of you are watching, I know Spurs are currently 2-1 up against West Ham. Not a game really that affects us though. And Steve Middlemas has just said that another protester has just tried to get on the pitch at the Spurs game. This is obviously some kind of coordinated protest, throughout football. So something that the authorities are going to have to crack down on. George Bainbridge, maybe he's cracked down on knives as well. Just a suggestion. George Bainbridge says, which players would you clone to make a perfect midfielder for Newcastle? What a good question, George. Well, obviously, I think if you could clone Shelvey and Joe Linton, you would have a pretty good footballer, Holly.
Yeah, I agree. 100% agree. I think they're both grafters, but then I feel like you'd lose that little bit of flair because I know Shelvey does pass the ball well. He does have them Hollywood passes, but I think they're both quite slow players, so maybe a little bit of speed in that.
Yeah, okay. I think it's fantastic. I mean, you could look at others, but I think that's probably the best combination. Holly, when everyone's available, who would you play in centre midfield? Now, I had this question on the Amigos the other night. It's a difficult one, but if everybody's available, everybody's fit 100%, what would your midfield be?
Well, if we were playing four, it is. If we were playing four in the midfield, like with 2 in the wing and then 2 in centre mid. In centre mid, I'd probably go for Bruno and Joe Linton if they were both in top form. I would feel bad because I think John Joe Shelby's been absolutely exceptional this season, to be honest. So I think, it would be difficult to drop him, but I'd love to see Bruno and Joe Linton given that chance together. And then on the wings, I'd probably go for St. Maximin, even though he has been poor in the past couple of games, in my opinion. And then I would like to see Almiron in, because I know Almiron's a player that a lot of people feel like is past his best and he hasn't got a future at Newcastle. But I think recently, and especially in that Everton game, I thought he was brilliant.
And Richie, of course, would you consider him midfield?
I'm afraid not, Steve. I think he's past his best, unlike Almiron.
Now, I did say I was going to bring this up on the show, didn't I, when I was at the match? But I am absolutely disgusted at the fact that fans are now singing Richie's song to Bruno, and I refuse to sing it until Matt Ritchie leaves the club.
Yeah, well, I'm sure Matt Ritchie will feel a little bit better that you did tell him that you loved him and that you weren't singing the song, so he knows he's got one fan in the crowd.
It was a classic, that. Yeah, shouting out, Matt, it's not me singing that song. But yeah, man, the bloke's not even left yet, and his song's been taken from him and blatantly sung to somebody else. I don't know. It's just something just wrong with that. Like, people just haven't thought about it.
I'll hold my hands up and say I have been singing it, I'm afraid.
And Dave has. I keep having to check your dad and say, Dave, stop singing that song. But yeah, it's. I don't know. I've never known that. I've never known that, where the song just gets removed from somebody whilst they're at the club. Correct us if I'm wrong, folks.
I think he's like the forgotten man, though, isn't he?
He's there. He's walking around. Everybody can see him. He's in the squad.
But he's not getting game time.
He's forgotten man to the fans by the sounds of it. Yeah, and he's a good servant. I hope he gets a good standing ovation at Burnley and gets a chance to play against Burnley when we're safe. And last game of the season, I hope he gets that opportunity. Political bias. Thank you very much for the donation. It means a lot when people do that. We don't ask for it. We don't beg on this channel. But if you want to make a donation, you can use a super sticker. That's great. Or you can become a member. So thank you very much for that. It does mean a lot. International, meaningless, friendly games, says Steve. Yeah, I would agree. How many points do you think Newcastle will get from the next 5 fixtures? Oh, good question, Tom. We haven't had this on the show yet. Spurs away. What do you reckon, Holly? I'm going to say no, 0 point at that game.
Yeah, I agree. No points.
Wolves at home. I'm going to go in that game. That's going to be a 3 points to Newcastle. Wolves are struggling a little bit at the minute. They're conceding goals. I'm going to say that's going to be a win.
Yeah, same here.
Okay, Leicester at home. I'm going to say that's one of the tough ones, but I still fancy Newcastle to get a draw in that game.
0 points for me.
0 points, okay. Palace at home is tough, but their minds will be focused more on the FA Cup now, I think. So I'm going to say a win.
Yeah, I'd agree.
And Norwich away is a home banker for us as well. I think we'll get 3 points at Norwich. I don't think they're going to win that game.
I'm going to go for a draw.
Okay, Tom, there you go. We've answered that question rather thoroughly. Where is the link to your channel, Holly?
I have put it in the chat.
Oh, you put it in. Right, I'm going to find it now. Bear with us, folks. I've got to scroll in and try and find it. Where is it, Holly? I can't see it.
I put it on early on. It was only like 2 minutes into the show or something.
Was it? I can't even see it. Why? Holly, I genuinely can't see it. Holly. Where's Holly's name? Where is it? Can you put it in again, Holly? I can just see loads of people asking for it and not seeing your name. Put it in again and I'll stick it at the top so then people can find it. Kenny Ranson says, we lost the last 2 games, but one of those was stolen from us by the system. We should have won at least one. Kenny, you're right. Alan says, Everton getting beat 4-0 today couldn't have happened better to a small club like that. They did well getting to the quarterfinals. They are the Hartlepool of the Northwest. Don't hold back there, Alan. Stephen Holly, says John, with a couple of forwards and a bit more midfield creativity added in the summer, could we compete for top 4 next season? I don't think it's out of a question. Holly, what do you think about that?
I think top 4 is far too ambitious for one transfer window. I'd say top 10, yes, definitely 100%. But top 4, I think we will get there, but not in one season. Obviously, we did have a good January window. I think we will continue to strengthen within the summer window. But for me, you need much more squad depth than what we will have available in the next season.
Right, Holly, have you put that in again? You said you've put it in, and it's not showing up on the.
Have you banned me from the chat or something?
I don't know whether somebody's banned you from the chat, but your first post is there at the start where you say, "Hi everybody, evening all." You've said
above John Askew's comment saying, apart from his first year or two, which he hasn't played his normal position.
It's not showing up in the chat, so I wonder whether that's something to do with the links or something. Because John Justice Allen's is there, yours isn't there. Then John Askew's is there. Try and put just a testing post in, and then we'll see if that comes through. And it might just be the fact that it's a link. Maybe it's only I can post a link in the chat. So in that case,
hello.
Right, okay, here we go. God, sorry folks, we're having to try this. Hello, it's come through. Right, do us a favor. Text me the link. Send me the link on WhatsApp, and then I'll post it. It must only be me who can do that. Okay. So yeah, I think, John, with a couple of forwards and a bit more midfield creativity, I think Newcastle will be challenging for Europe next year, but I don't think it'll be the top 4. If you want my honest opinion, John, that's what I'm saying. 3-1 to Spurs. Apparently, Harry Kane's just missed a golden chance, says Alan. Gary Speed and Rob Lee, says Steve Middlemas. I'm not sure what that was referring to.
I think it's combining the two midfielders. Yeah,
2 players that you could combine. Sorry, yes, I've got you that. I've got you there now. I would cross Bruno and ASM, says Trolls.
That would be an interesting combination.
Yeah,
not a lot of discipline, mind.
No, I think that would be it would be interesting. Evening, Roger. Hope you're well, mate. Has Bruno already proved he's a cut above, or does he need to do his stuff over a few more games? Holly, what do you think about that?
I think we need to see him prove himself a little bit more. I think already he's shown that he has got a lot of skill, a lot of talent, and it's very clear why he's a Brazilian international. He has showed that he can do things that I think most players in the squad aren't capable of doing, but we haven't seen enough of it yet. And obviously, we're still seeing him getting quite tired in games, and I think he does still probably need a few more months, probably till the end of the season, before we see him fully adapt into the physicality of the Premier League. And then next season, I think we'll see him be a top player, and I really do believe that he will be a top player at Newcastle.
Yeah, he's only played a few games, and I think he will be a cut above. I think he's the next. I think we've described it on this player as the next stage kind of player, somebody who you wouldn't have expected to bring in the last transfer window, somebody you might have expected to sign in the summer. So yeah, I don't doubt that he's going to get better and better as his game time at Newcastle goes on. George Bainbridge, good evening. He says, I would clone Gaza, Tony Green and Tommy Cassidy, all before Holly's time, and at least 2 of them before my time, Tony Green and Tommy Cassidy. I never saw them play. I've obviously heard older fans wax lyrical about both of those, Tony and Tommy. Gaza I saw myself. Do you really need to clone somebody with Gaza? Gaza was the best footballer in the world in 1990. Hi, just get on, hit the likes, people. Says 2-man, thank you. Spurs 3-1, yeah, that's right. Question for Holly from Tom. In the summer, would you keep Jamal Lewis or would you sell him?
I'd sell him, which I think is a shame because he was brought into the football club. A lot of people were excited by the signing of him. I was always quite sceptical. I didn't really understand why we signed him. Not because I doubted the quality of him as a player, but because I didn't think that he fit into the team at that current moment, and hence why we saw him not getting that game time. He was left on the bench, sometimes not even in the squad. And then obviously now he's not in the 25-man squad. We believe that's because of an injury, but I just can't see him coming into the side and then again being somebody that really has a future within the team. I think obviously he's more suited now because we do play a bit more on the front foot, but I think with the defence for the next few seasons we need to keep it quite solid. I don't think we have the facilities really to kind of have more like wing backs running up and down the pitch and leaving us more vulnerable at the back. I just think that's going to take a few years before we get to that level, and I don't think in my opinion, I don't think his attitude that he's shown has been the attitude of a young player that really wants to do well in the game. He didn't really make much noise when he was left out of the squad. You'd expect him to at least say something, clear up the fact that it was an injury or whatever, and he didn't do that. So for me, I wouldn't be opposed to getting rid of Lewis.
Yeah, I think Lewis is another one, a bit like Jacob Murphy, who can be worked on. Rafa was great at turning around players who probably hadn't performed under the previous manager. And I think Eddie Howe is pretty similar in that respect, especially with young players. I think he can bring the best out in them. And I think Lewis was just starting to find his feet and find his form under Eddie Howe. And I think Lewis is the kind of player that can save Newcastle money, Tom. I think that could be one to watch in the summer. I don't think we'll be quick to kick him out the door. I think there'll be an interest in keeping a hold of him and developing him, depending on how well he comes out the injury. But we'll wait and see. Trull says Richie's over the hill. He needs to move on. Great player, but done in the Premier, in my opinion. Roger says, you're right, Steve. Richie must be fuming. I am, Roger. I am right on this. John goes, Bruno's effing magic. He pinched Matt Ritchie's hat. And when we win the Premier League, he'll give the effer back.
It's a good song.
Made us laugh anyway. John goes, apart from this year or two, Richie hasn't played in his normal position. He's a forward. If only everyone with a shirt had his attitude, says John. I agree. Richie has been a victim of his own versatility and the fact that he was happy to play alongside, play in different positions. And we haven't seen the best of him for that reason, I would have said, Holly.
I do agree. I think he's not the best at left back whatsoever. He's a decent left winger. The past few times we have seen him play on that left wing, though, I think he has struggled. And that's probably a combination of a few things. Probably a lack of confidence, because obviously he hasn't been in that squad as much as he had been. And also the fact that his fitness probably isn't as it was, because, he hasn't been playing as consistently as he had in the past. And it is a shame. I think there's a few years now where you've seen the decline of Matt Ritchie, and previously he was such a good player. But for me, I'd love to see him get a good move in the summer, but I don't think he'll be at Newcastle.
And we'll say hello to Holly. Hello.
Hi.
Alan Thompson says, I must admit, Steve and Holly, after Everton scored, I wish I could have tied myself to the post for 24 hours because I thought that's how long it would take Wood to score.
I know how it feels. Not just Wood. A few players had the chances on that day and just couldn't put them away.
Yeah, I'm not going to start bashing any players. It's not on for me anyway. I don't see the point in doing it. But look, Alan, I get your frustration. Newcastle had chances and we should have put them away. We didn't, and we ended up ultimately suffering from that. From that perspective, we didn't manage to put the ball in the back of the net. I loved it. My mother-in-law isn't a football fan, but she did, of course, see the pitch invader tie himself to the post against Everton, and her solution was, well, they should have just left him there. And she says, and then the ball could have just hit off him at any time, and anytime anyone was pinging the ball towards him. That's a good suggestion.
I suppose it would have put people off doing it in the future.
Yeah, we might have got a bit of luck had he been in there. He might have nodded it in. I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, big thank you to our sponsors as always. Thanks to Spider VPN for all your internet security. Google Spider VPN. They come up at the top of the Google search list. They are the boys to trust for your internet security. Thanks to skipsandbins.com, telephone 0800 25 45 25 3. Email inquiries at skipsandbins.com, website www.skipsandbins.com. Easy, contract free, and pay-as-you-go waste collection. Thanks to L&G Family Funeral Directors, 01913 897245, and to Garden of Healing Dispensary, CBD, hemp and cannabinoid specialists, www.thegohd.com. Thanks also to Arcot Interiors for all your kitchen necessities. You can find the guys down at Heaton Road in Newcastle, or Google Arcot Interiors and they come up at the top of the Google search list as well. Thanks to qtechshop.co.uk, the makers of pool tables and snooker tables in Wallsend, Newcastle, and the guys who run our website, NUFCmatters.com. Thanks also to Kleekai. Meet the new game over screen. Drop into a Kleerun device near you. Available on Apple Store, Google Play, and at kleerun.game. Thanks to jabsignature.co.uk. And big thank you to 3D Fight Club for entertaining us last night down in Manchester. Had a cracking night down there. And thanks to Dougie, Dean and Ash for their hospitality. Thanks also to Media Arts, who do all of our video material. And if you want to subscribe to the channel, please do. And close to 500 subs in the last 4 days. 500 new subs. So we're closely approaching 47.3 on the old subs list. So please subscribe if you're somebody watching tonight and you're fancying it. Hit the Newcastle Legends logo in the bottom right hand corner, and that's it. You can subscribe for free. Hit the little thumb up under the video to like the video. That does help us massively. Click share to share to your social media, and drop into the comments box to speak to like-minded Newcastle fans or to pose a question on screen. We do not charge you any extra to do that, unlike some channels. So, yeah, drop in, ask a question, or suggest something you want to talk about. We're also available as a podcast on iTunes, Spotify, and on other podcast providers. It usually goes up 24 hours after the show has been out on YouTube. We also have a membership scheme, which is £25. It's a one-off fee, and you get a scarf, a cup, a card, a membership card, and a pen. And you just need to go to NUFCmatters.com to get those goodies. And you can also put a QR code over the top of, put your phone over the top of that QR code, and that can take you straight to that page if you want to register. Subscribers as well. John from QTech is giving away free car stickers to you if you're a subscriber. So that's an extra incentive to hit the subscribe button. If you do that, go to the website, NUFCmatters.com, and people, you just need to submit the fact that you're a subscriber and you'll get your free car sticker. Don't forget, we support the food bank on this show. NUFC fans, foodbank.co.uk is the website to go to if you want to make a virtual donation, and it is dead easy. So please do that. And if you want to see me and Holly and Supermac and Gibbo live, Saturday the 9th of April, 12 noon, tickets are £10 from newcastlelegends.com. Get your tickets today. We've done about 50 for that event, so it should be a good afternoon had by all. And we have got our third Alan Shearer raffle. Tickets, there's 2 VIP tickets for the event worth £520. And we are giving 2 of those away on the latest raffle. You've got a 99 to 1 chance of winning these 2 tickets. To enter, just go to NUFCmatters.com, pay £5, and that is it. You are in the draw. If you just want to buy tickets for it, go to the 260dinner.co.uk website and buy your tickets today. It's going to be a cracking event, that. And our latest Food Bank t-shirt, the Joe Linton t-shirt with the Joe Linton song, that's pinned to the top of my Twitter account at Steve Wraith. Give us a little follow on there. But if you want to go to the pinned post and place a bid, you can do. And that t-shirt will be signed by the man himself. Joe Linton will be signing that t-shirt. So thank you for all your support. As always, thanks to all the mods in the chat. We'll come back to you guys now and see what else you're talking about. John says, us mods have blocked Holly from the chat for starting her own channel.
I'd serve it, really.
And James says, will the Stephen Holly show continue when Holly starts her show?
Nah, I'm leaving. I'm leaving, Steve. I'm sorry to say. No, of course it'll still continue. I'll still be on NUFC Matters every Sunday.
I mean, it's it's just one of those things, and people don't expect things, and then I think you've been inundated, haven't you, with a few people going, "Well, I'm glad you're leaving. I'm glad you're getting away from that channel." I mean, it's crazy, Holly, isn't it? But I don't know. People just don't understand that you've enjoyed doing what you've done yet to the extent where you now want to go out and do your own stuff, and that's what you're going to go into, isn't it, as a career? You're hoping.
Well, yeah, 100%. I mean, obviously, it's a massive passion that I found, came across it by chance, was never really planned. And I'd love to cover Newcastle for a living. I think a lot of Newcastle fans would love to do that. So hopefully I'm able to. Obviously, thanks to you, obviously, for giving us the platform on here. And I've enjoyed doing that. And now just giving my own channel a go. So hopefully it goes well. But I'll still be continuing to do NUFC Matters, of course. Yeah,
and I'll happily jump on for an interview if you'll have us at some point as well to boost your numbers and get you a bit of criticism.
I'll consider it, Steve.
Cheryl, good to see you too. Thank you for being in the chat. And thanks for having me back on a few posts, Cheryl. It never goes unnoticed when people are kind and, jump in and have to say things. You shouldn't have to do that, of course, but please keep up your support. It does mean a lot. By the way, I have pinned Holly's, I managed to get it in there. I've pinned Holly's link for our YouTube channel at the top. So if you all want to just click on that, just give her a quick subscription. That will be great. Just me says, to James Moore, to be honest, the way things are on YouTube, all the slanging each other and nothing to do with football, I think they will all get shut down as the police watches everything. Not the Newcastle stuff, just me. The Newcastle stuff is, there are disputes, I've got to say, out there, but there's none of that on there. I think a few of these channels, though, with regards to the criminal stuff, the criminal element on here, will do. Unfortunately, I have to respond to it, just me, at times. Some might say that I'm provoking a situation. I'm not. I'm simply defending myself and from my perspective, defending the people who get dragged into it as well. So I will probably do nothing on that score for the next couple of weeks. Leave it, see what happens. But when you've got a reputation, I'm afraid you've got to defend it. And this is what happens on YouTube. It's a public platform. And yes, I'm going to use my favorite phrase again. When you put your head above the parapet, this is what happens. And sadly, this true crime side of things has got a horrible element to it. There is a nasty element to it. But I don't get bullied very easily, as I think everybody realizes now. And these people will be dealt with, I am sure, by the authorities in due course. So just me, I think you're very right. And thank you for bringing that up, and I'm glad I highlighted it. Steve Middleman says, Gary Milligan, they can't knock them down. They are listed. I'm not sure what you're talking about there. I must have missed that bit in the chat. I'll come back to that. Sorry, Stephen Ollie, the abuse on some of Everton's podcasts after they won about Newcastle was way over the top. Just pure hatred against our club. I want them down now. Alan, yeah, I saw that. Yeah, I mean, I've had a couple. I mean, one of them is made Troll of the Week for Friday. Everton fans targeting us it's a bit bizarre. They won the game, Holly, at the end of the day.
Very, very bizarre. Obviously when you win, you think that's all you'd be bothered about, especially when you're 17th in the league. 3 points is a big difference, but still having a pop. So I suppose it just still shows that we massively get under their skin. I mean, it's a very bizarre rivalry we have with Everton, I must say. But yeah, I agree with that comment. I would be quite happy if Everton did go down.
Yeah, Graham Coleman, Trull says sub to Holly, which is great. Graham Coleman says there's no way that the team would make the top 4 next season. We are not there yet after 14 years of neglect. About 7th or 8th next season should be the target. Yeah, I would say, in and around that top tier, that top tier would do me, Graham. Holly, would that do you?
Yeah, 100%. I think it'll be probably between 8th and 10th.
John Askew says, is anyone still getting their head around the new tune culture? Would normally be happy going into next season with this current squad, but we're going to be far stronger. Yeah, it does take a bit of getting used to, Wally, doesn't it? It takes a bit of going used to going to games thinking you're actually going to compete.
Oh, 100%. It's really, really bizarre. And I think it'll probably take a few seasons before it kind of sinks in because for so long, we didn't expect anything other than kind of mediocrity. We were just desperate to stay up and do nothing else. But now everyone's thinking, actually, we can go on to bigger and better things. And how far can we go? And that's a really exciting prospect for the future.
Tom says, Holly, do you think Norwich, Watford and Burnley will go down?
Probably, yeah. But I think Everton will definitely be in the mix. They'll probably finish 17th, I think, by some luck. But yeah, I think that will be the bottom 3.
A lot depends on whether Burnley win these 2 games in hand. If Burnley win these 2 games in hand, then the pressure is on. The pressure is on. And Everton have now got to bounce back from that horrendous cup exit because that was horrendous. That was a capitulation. And if Everton continue in that form, then who knows? I think Holly could be right. Could go down at the last game. Could be Burnley against Newcastle. Could be for Burnley to stay up.
And Sean Dyche has a reputation for keeping them up as well by the skin of their teeth.
Yeah, Gary Milligan says there's plenty of listed buildings being knocked down. For instance, the Ginger Beer Works on the side of the Farmers Rest. Just obviously talking about the ground. Steve saying, could you rotate the pitch 90 degrees to expand the ground? It's something that's been mentioned. But Steve, where do Newcastle play in the meantime? It sounds easy talking about that, but that can't be done in the summer. Newcastle would need to find somewhere to play. Where's all the fans? The fans aren't going to be able to watch the game. Newcastle would have to play at Wembley, or play at Old Trafford. or something like that. Alternate matches at Old Trafford, maybe. But I don't know. Then you've got the problem of fans complaining about travelling to Old Trafford to watch home games. So, there's a lot to debate about that. And again, I don't think that's the main priority at the moment. Graham, come on, mate. You're lowering the tone. Why do we not get female streakers now rather than people tying themselves to posts? Something from the 1980s, that, Graham, and it's probably not appropriate, I would have said. But the people who are invading the pitch at the moment shouldn't be invading the pitch. And from my perspective, they should be, dealt with a little bit more severely than taken back into the police station at the ground and, ticked off and given a fine. It's ridiculous. And like I said before, right at the start, this person with a knife, Holly, what is going to happen to this person with the knife? He's just wandering around Liverpool, he'll be coming to the next game with a knife.
That is crazy. And the fact that there's no questions asked or anything is even more of a concern.
Yeah, my guess is Norwich, Watford and Everton are going down, says Terrace Seas. So Everton is Terrace Seas' bet. John Askew says, Steve, with reference to a past debate on NUFC matters, Everton did a smash and grab job on us. They didn't deserve it, but won late on. That's smash and grab, I think. John, 100%, that is smash and grab for me. Everton fans wanted Lampard and they've got him. He will deliver them to the promised land, somewhere closer to Funderland, says Terrace Seas. How about a free car sticker? A free car to put the sticker on, says Alan. Ask John, he's in the chat. I'm sure he'd 47,000 cars. It's going to be a bit of a push. Alan Thompson says, Holly and Steve, what do you think is Howe's top priority in the summer? Mine is different. Definitely 2 strikers, without doubt, and a centre-back and a centre midfielder as well. I believe it's a goalkeeper and a goal scorer. Those are the priorities. Holly, what do you think Howe's priorities will be?
Yeah, I think a couple of goal scorers, a keeper, and probably another centre-back. I think we could get away with the current defence going into the new season, but I think you just like probably 1 or 2 more additions just to strengthen it in case there's any injuries there.
John has come up with a solution. He says he can send you a cardboard cutout of a Porsche. So there you are.
Sounds fair to me.
Oh, that's good. Vince asks, did we have the time of our lives in the car on the way down to Everton?
100%, as always.
Absolutely brilliant. Yeah, it was good. It was a good CD, that, Vince. You don't realise when you get these CDs, when Dave buys these CDs for £1 in the pound shop or wherever he gets them, that some of these CDs are actually really good. But I think what we've found, Holly, is that these CDs tend to put all the good songs at the start, and then at the end, it's all the songs that nobody really listens to.
Yeah, I know. It's the worst thing because we start off singing along all the songs and then by the end you're just thinking, what is this rubbish? I wish you could just buy the first half of a CD.
Yeah. Vince says, I've subscribed, Holly. Good luck with your channel.
Thank you.
Alan says, yes, you should do a channel, Holly. You know a lot more than any of these trolls about the tune.
I like to think so, yeah.
Yeah, I was just on about the buildings behind the East Stand, Steve. Oh, yeah, Gary, they are owned by a Saudi businessman, and I've seen the plans. I think I've mentioned this numerous times on the show. In 2000, David Stonehouse, when I worked at the club, was the chief executive, showed us the plans, and the front of the buildings can be incorporated into a new stand. But the cost of doing that will be the equivalent of building a new stadium. That was in 2000. It's 22 years later, so I'm not sure what the situation would be now. Tom Dixon says, why does the Intertoto Cup not exist anymore? It was a good cup to be in. I don't know. I think it's once we won it, they decided to scrap it.
Yeah, I know it's the only cup we've won in my lifetime besides the championship.
Yeah, I mean, we won the Japan Cup in 1982, so I saw that. Glorious, that. Like, I remember talking about it for years. And but yeah, we won at Wembley once in my time, 1988, Mercantile Credit Classic. We beat Liverpool 1-0, Neil MacDonald penalty, and then we got beat off. Was it Tranmere or Burnley 2-0? Can't remember which one it would be now. Terrace says 7th will be our Champions League spot. Yeah, I think so. John says if we'd beaten Chelsea and Everton, which could easily be happened, we would be sitting 9th after that start. Wow. I hope we finish above some of the Super League wannabes next year, says Kenny. George says, after the January 2023 transfer window, we'll be in the top 4. We are the richest club in the world. Lots of people getting very confident. Play at the Stadium of Light. They need to see Premier League football at some point. Oh, there's a bone of contention, James. Holly, would you like to see Newcastle play at the Stadium of Light? And would Sunderland allow it?
No, to both questions.
All right.
I mean, Northumbria police would have a nightmare on their hands. I'd feel so bad for them.
I think Sunderland fans would go mad as well. I just couldn't see it happening. Someone at Spurs today tried to handcuff themselves to a goalpost, which was quickly caught by stewards. Cheers, Mulder. Vince says, you can see how Howe has gotten the lads battling every game. And the last 3 games in a short period has got to our squad. I don't blame anyone for losses. I just love the club and our players. It's exactly how I feel, Vince. I don't feel the need to criticise anybody at all at the moment because everyone is given the best shot. I genuinely feel. Terrace says, goalkeeper and reliable 9 and an absolute priority, agreeing with me. Gerard says, need a goal maker, a goal taker, and a goal stopper. Ooh, I like the way you put that. It's good, Holly, isn't it? I think that's right.
Yeah, I agree with them.
Alan Sherbert says, Lampard will probably get sacked soon. Yeah, Newcastle needs a few more strikers. Do a CD, Steve. Sing along with Steve and Holly.
I don't think we'd sell many copies of that, mind.
I think my mum would buy one.
Well, I don't think my mum would. I think my mum would smash it in half.
I think your mum would buy it with me being on it.
Maybe. But I mean, you're pushing it a bit. She was impressed with the clip that we sent the other day, though. She did enjoy that, bless her.
Very good, very good. Well, it's gone viral, but not for the right reasons. Alan says, no German cars. They are probably to go on fire. I'm not sure what that means. Is this the cardboard cutout that John's sending you? It was. Think you should continue Rate My Plate on your show, Holly. Don't worry. Rate My Plate is on its way very soon. We're just going to get to the end of these comments. If Everton need points on the last day and so do Burnley to stay up, I just hope the lads have their sandals on and hotel brochures in the dressing room. That's all I want to say. The Lost Boys soundtrack CD is a great away day carpool karaoke for Steve, Holly and Dave. Okay, that's interesting. The Japan Cup. Kevin Keegan lifted that trophy, Malta. Yeah, I've got a photograph of it somewhere, I think, a newspaper cutting or something. Bring the Zenith Data Systems Cup back. If you know, you know, says Paul. 6-6 against Tranmere, mate. I was there.
We finished second in the Asia Trophy a few years ago. Don't forget that.
We did, but the Zenith Data Systems Cup was the first televised game on Sky, and I was there. It was Tranmere away. We drew 6-6, and there was 3 people got a hat-trick in that game. I think it was John Aldridge, Gavin Peacock, and Mickey Quinn, if I remember rightly. And we got beat after extra time on penalties 7-6. But we drowned our sorrows in the bar, the Mersey Clipper behind there. I've got that game somewhere on tape. Paul, 100%. Tom Lynch has subscribed. And then Tom has also said it was Tranmere we got beat off in the Mercantile Credit after having beaten Liverpool 1-0. Tom, you know what? I've got the on audio tape. I've actually got Charles Harrison's commentary somewhere of that game. You remember when you used to record things on tapes, Tom? I've actually got the commentary of that game, and I've got Charles Harrison going, and Neil MacDonald scores the winner against Liverpool at Wembley. Wow. Things used to hang on. We could play at Whitley Park, says Tom. Tom, where's the fans going to go? I get you. I mean, it's a good pitch, but where are the fans going to go? Terrace says, good luck with your channel, Holly. You deserve it. Paul says, Eddie played for 2 points, last 2 away games. What a guy. Graham, no need to apologise, mate. It's just, sometimes when you put things on the chat, I sometimes don't see them till late, and then I'll read them out and then think, oh, what am I reading here? But anyway, look, I got your point anyway. I remember there was an infamous streaker at Twickenham in the rugby, I think, and she went on to become very famous. Erica, somebody, I think. Paul, thanks, mate. Great days, those, says Paul. It was, great days, the 6-6 at Tranmere. Holly, are you devastated that Dan Burn didn't make the England squad?
I think I'm unsurprised. I think when you come to Newcastle, it's the kiss of death. It's like you're guaranteed to never make the England squad, or that's how it feels anyway, certainly in recent years. And I think probably because he signed for Newcastle in the January, maybe Southgate didn't see enough of him at his prime. Potentially next year he could make it, but I wasn't surprised that he didn't make it, unfortunately.
Yeah, good evening, Paul. Hope you're well, mate. Thank you for continuing to share our content on all your social media, mate. I do see your posts. Erica Rowe, Gary. Yes, that's right. She ended up having a very good career off the back of that. Otto Flick from Allo and Holly. Thank you, mate. Thank you. That is a compliment. Send it in as a lookalike for Friday. Okay. seeing as though people are demanding it, and James is trying to kidnap it for your own show, we better do Rate War Play It. Right. Tom Lynch, he's in the chat tonight. Last week you wanted more bizarre Rate War plates. This is Rate War Bowl. But will this do? Pickled onion crisps in raspberry yogurt. You can use strawberry yogurt or salt and vinegar crisps too. The sweet-sour balance works very well.
Am I mistaken and think we've already had this on the show?
No, we haven't had this one on yet.
Have we not?
This was sent on Twitter, so you probably remember it on Twitter because he copied both of us in, but we've never used it on the show yet.
All right, okay.
I am going to say yes. I'm going to say yes, Tom. I'm willing to do this.
Yeah, I'll say yes as well. I don't think it'll be too bad.
Well done, Tom. That's a great suggestion, mate. We're going to go with your original choice, I think. Pickled onion crisps in a raspberry yogurt. Pickled
onion crisps are hard to find.
I can get them. I'll get them. Don't worry about that. Okay, Tom, well done. Fantastic suggestion. And because the music is so good, I'm going to play back out with it. Kenny says, Steve, Holly's going to do 8 days a week on her channel to get one up on you.
I'll never be able to do that. Unlike Steve, I actually sleep.
Alan says, subscribe, Holly Pet. Best of luck to you.
Thank you.
Paul says, in the morning, I'm going to try and grab 2 tickets for Crystal Palace or Leicester. Fingers crossed. Good luck, Paul. Best of luck with that. Tom Lind should get counselling, says John. He doesn't like the idea of his yogurt and crisps. You'll have to write that down, Holly, by the way, as well. I'm sure you have already. You're a consummate professional. Vince says, England's loss is our gain. Burn will get his shot eventually. Paul, I've missed this. It's usually Stu who puts that. But yeah, Bruce out. Why not? Alan Thompson says, since the penalty shootouts were introduced in 1971, we've only won 3. We are the worst team in the Premier League officials, so please no penalties in League and FA Cup finals next season. Have you ever seen us win a penalty shootout, Holly?
I don't think so, no.
I have. I think I've seen us win one, but most of them, yeah, I've seen we miss them. You know, miss more penalties than we've scored, certainly. Mag Debates says, who remembers It's a Goal? I think it was on Metro Radio on match days. Yeah, I remember that. That was when a goal went in another ground. And it would go, then there would be like this pre-recorded, it's a goal. And then there's, the crowd like cheering. Mag Debates, it was great. Has anyone got a copy of that? I wouldn't mind listening to that again. But yeah, that was fab. Tom says, no, trust me, John, it's great. Talking about his yogurt and crisps. Did you discover this on your own, Tom? We need to know. Tom's been laughed at by John. Vince says, interesting. I like eating a Yorkie and cheese and onion hula hoops.
Surely separately.
At the same time. And is it a bacon and is it a bacon? Is it a raisin and biscuit Yorkie? Because that's what they're my favourites. I've got one to eat tonight after the show. That's interesting, yeah. Is that the kind of, is that together, to eat them together? I couldn't imagine that is the case. It was on Radio Newcastle, says Gary. It's a goal. Okay. When is the live Rate My Plate Eat Off? We're debating whether to do it at the Dog and Parrot or the end of season do. And I think we're hedging towards the end of season do. But I'll let you know, John. I'll let you know. We'll decide at the end of May. Read. Says Mag Debate. Must have been the It's a Goal thing. Jasmine, good to see Watford play Liverpool next and Burnley play Man City. Yeah, that'll be good. Keith Moore says, when is your first show, Holly?
I think it's going to go out on Tuesday night. That's what I'm aiming for. I have recorded it. I just want to edit it and put all the clips together.
Oh, you're editing it?
Yeah.
Wow, this is big business. Good stuff. Excellent. I'm looking forward to seeing it. Well, yeah, let me know and we'll give it a good share and stick it out on social media, etc. Paul Gibson says, I had the Yorkshire Terrier at Cheltenham last week. She was no bother. Is that the right chat? Are you in the right chat, Paul?
I don't know what to say to that.
Hard to believe Kenneth Wolstenstone once commentated on Newcastle in the 90s on Metro, says Kirk. Yeah, I remember that. Gary says, have you heard of taking a bite of fruitcake and then a bite of cheese? Yes, I've done that.
No, not personally.
It's all right. It's all right. It's not bad.
I don't like cheese, though.
It's a Christmassy thing, that, Gary. It's a Christmassy thing. I wouldn't do it all year round. But yeah, I've definitely done that. Tom says, I think I discovered salt and vinegar crisps and strawberry yogurt first. It was at school. Yeah, well, there we go. So you didn't waste your school years, Tom, discovering different recipes. Yes, the same time, original Yorkie, and cheese and onion hula hoops. However, Vince, that's just wrong. That is wrong. That is wrong. It's just not. Nah. Each to their own, of course. Each to their own. But that definitely isn't for me. Vince, again, you see, people say the same. This is what people are coming up with. It hits the sweet and sour spot, they say.
Well, I get it if it's like salt and sweet popcorn, but not like cheese crisps and a Yorkie. That's just too far.
Yeah, bit bizarre that, mate. I've got to be perfectly honest. Let's finish up on ASM. Again, seems to be splitting the fan base, Holly, on social media. And I really don't know why. I mean, ASM came out and gave like an interview again to a French newspaper or whatever it was. Translation comes over and says he's not 100% sure if he's going to commit himself to Newcastle. But, you know, there seems to be a lot being made of that, doesn't there, about the whole ASM thing. What's your take on it?
Obviously, I championed ASM a couple of weeks ago because I said, although at the moment he is struggling, I think get the right players alongside him and he becomes world class. But obviously, in the past couple of games, you know, he hasn't really done himself any favours coming off the bench and hasn't really done very well. Again, we're just seeing too much of a selfish player with Alan St-Maximin. You know, he's not much of a team player. And I think, obviously, in the current side, he's just not doing great because that's not what we need right now. Again, I stand by my point. In the future, I think he does have a chance to make it. It just depends if we can keep a hold of him for that long. I think obviously that interview, there's probably a bit too much being made of it. I'm sure it wasn't kind of as serious as it maybe came across to some of the fan base. Obviously, I can understand why there's a frustration there because you're thinking if a player doesn't want to be here, let them go. But previously in the past, Alan St-Maximin's always said how much he loves Newcastle as a city, he loves the fan base, he loves the stadium, the club, and I think he would like to stay here if he could make himself an established player. It's just whether he gets the chance to do that, because unfortunately at the moment he's just really not helping himself out.
Fish finger and mushy pea sandwich is yummy, says Brian. John says Harry Ramsden fish fingers, fried egg and cheese sandwich. God, it's turned into one of those nights where everyone's going on about food. You can tell it's International Weekend. People go stir crazy. We need to stir fry crazy. We need to go back. We need to back ASM so we can go back to where he belongs. ASM is not fit. That's why he's played bad. Says Trull. Bit of support there from Trulls. Yeah, I think, you know, maybe he has been carrying a bit of a knock. I would agree, and he needs to get back to where he was, and you know, support him. He's a player. You know, don't get on his back and just give him 100% support. I'm sure we'll be fine. Great show tonight. Thanks everyone. Says Tom. Thank you, mate. And don't knock it till you've tried it. Is the
not planning on trying that, mind.
Yeah, I mean, it's not. I don't think it'll make rate my plate, Vince. That's for certain. Marmite sandwiches. Have you tried these, Holly? Says Tom.
Not a lover of Marmite.
Yeah, Marmite on crackers and cheese. Yeah, I've done that, but not really a Marmite sandwich. Like, how do we get beat against 10 donkeys? Paul, forget it. It's gone now. We'll have to move on. Concentrate on the next show. On the next game. Top show, says John. Stu, good evening, mate. I'll give you a shout out before. Evening, Stephen Holly. Even everybody in the chat. Hi, Trolls, mate. Yeah, Stu, somebody, Paul Gibson was on earlier and he said, Bruce out, Stu. So he did manage to get it in before you. Peanut butter and honey, says political bias against the right. And evening, Tom, says Stu. ASM great on his day, but does your head in when he throws a strop when losing the ball. And John says, will we see Stephen Holly on 3D Fight Club next year after a YouTube feud? Holly, fancy
I hope not. I really hope not.
No, I don't think they'll do. I don't think they'll mix the sexes anyway. I don't think they'll have Steve versus Holly. Definitely not. It was a good night though, John. Love ASM. He's carried the team in the Bruce era, and we will leave it there. Holly, as I say, Tuesday is your first show, so good luck with that. Anybody who wants to subscribe to Holly's channel, please do. I have pinned it to the top of the chat, so just click on that now. Take 2 seconds just to subscribe. And if you're not a subscriber to our channel, subscribe below now. And Stu says, glad to hear it, mate. Bruce out for old time's sake. Cheers, Stu, mate. Thanks for everybody for joining us. I hope you have a pleasant Sunday evening. And Holly, I think we might just squeeze one in at some point next week before I'm away for the week filming. But if not, I'll be in touch and we'll sort something for later this week. Okay, Holly, take care. Speak to you soon.
Sounds good. Take care. Bye.